The main thing that's so critical in our business that I don't see enough people embrace, it's just important to know we are in the business of words. This business is nothing more than the business of words. It's an idiot-proof business. If you learn the words to say, you'll get a certain result. Some businesses, you gotta be scientific, you gotta be innovative, you gotta be creative, you gotta be able to handle problems and all that other stuff. But here's the truth. Outside of critical decision, our business is simple. Our business is pretty simple. It's a business of words. Those people that know the words to say succeed. And if you get frustrated with your people who are not taking action, or you don't feel like you're taking enough action, let me tell you what causes us not to take action. What causes us to take action is our ability that we can get a result. Our ability to believe that we could get a result. If I believe that I have the ability to get a result, if I told you right now, look, you go talk to 100 people, I promise you and guarantee you, every single one of them say yes. Everyone's going to buy. Everyone's going to be recruited. Everyone's going to join your team, right? They're going to be in business with you. All are going to become EMDs in business with you. All of them are going to become six-figure earners with you and travel the world and make 6 and 7 figures every single year. And you're going to make a ton of money. As many people as you can talk to, every single person says yes. You will go talk to hundreds and hundreds and if not thousands of people. You wouldn't worry about your schedule or what's bothering you or what kid is sick. That's important, obviously. We take time for family, of course. But all these peripheral distraction thoughts that we have that really are just that. It's just distractions from ourselves and our goals and dreams. All these excuses that we make, they just simply aren't true. They just slow us down. They slow our progress down. The degree to which you could believe that you can get a result is the degree that you will act. And in our business, the way you believe you could get a result and things to happen for you in your business is that you know what to say and you know what they're going to say and you know what to say back to them. It's pretty simple. You get a result every single time. So honestly, after 7 or 8, no, maybe even after my 9th year in the business, I put together a couple manuals for my team, obviously here Team Prolific, on just the wording. Just practice the wording. I remember being in the 5th grade and I didn't really remember the definitions, but I remember alphabetical order, just writing down definitions and remembering the wordings of the definitions. And all these scientific words, all the index in the back of the book in science in 5th and 6th and 7th grade, it's all in. I just memorized the words, I memorized the definitions, and to this day, I probably don't know them, but at that point, I remembered them, right? So I just put together a manual for my team. You guys have it, all the Prolific manuals. And, I'm going to make multiple audios about it. About here's what they say, here's what they say, here's what you say. Here's what they say. When they say this, you say this back to them. I'm going to make all these different audios for us. Because the truth is, analysis creates paralysis. When you're overthinking on what to say, you don't say anything. And when you don't say anything, there's no results and there's no family host, there's no commissions being generated, there's no trips to qualify for. There's just nothing going on, right? So, again, I'm going to help you guys understand this stuff, know the words that work 90% of the time, that's generated millions of dollars for us, quite frankly, in business, right? So just stick to the words. Don't get creative. Those are the successful people. It's not selling. It's not necessarily recruiting. It's just really knowing the words. It's just this business is a people business. So think about a play. You know what I like about a play or acting? My son likes the idea of acting because he's just dramatic and silly all the time. And I was talking to him about learning scripts, right? So imagine just my son is in acting school and he's studying the scripts. And as we go to the movies to see the movie he put out, he's saying it as the movie's saying it. Why? Because he memorized the script of the movie. He's in it, right? So you got to understand, when we talk to people, there's only going to be 4 or 5, maybe 6 or 7 max objections they're going to give us. Max they're going to give us, right? So as we ask people, right, think about it. If we ask people stuff, imagine going into the conversation, going into the situation, knowing exactly what they're going to ask you back, right? The 4 or 5, 6, 7 things they're going to say, they're going to ask you back. Imagine you have the answer to that. You know how to answer it. You'll get a result almost every single time. And once you got the confidence that you can do that, you and your people will go take more action. Trust me. And so I got obsessed with the idea of just learning the words of our business. Insane about it. I listened to the audios of so many different leaders in the industry, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of times, right? I attended all of the seminars. I attended all of the train the trainers, everything I could. I just invested in me, right? And more importantly, what I really learned in learning the words is asking questions and asking the right questions. It's really, people put an awful lot of pressure on themselves. I got to learn this presentation. What do you say here? What do you say on the phone? What do you say over Zoom? Really, it's not what you say, it's what you ask. It's what they say that's important. So it's very simple. And I learned that primarily from so many different trainers in the industry, big time, sales trainers, MLM trainers, all that stuff's on YouTube. I'll give you a couple of names to look up. I like Myron Golden. I learned a lot of it from so many big time players like Tom Hopkins, like Grant Cardone, just so many different people on YouTube. It's all over there. Just get immersed and fanatical about the information, right? And obviously, in business, we have our leadership team, and they've been teaching us for years, if not decades, on how to overcome objections. And we learned how to do that, and guess what? We were off to the races, and so will you. If you could learn how to do that, you'll be off to the races. Especially when I first recruit somebody in business, I get their financial plan together. I make sure their financial house is in order, and I collect their top 25. Their top 25 list is their closest friends. What I usually say is, hey, if you're getting married this weekend, who are the 25 couples that you would invite to the wedding? And they tell me. However, what I've learned is that list not called serves nobody. That doesn't serve anybody. I want to be able to contact those people immediately when I recruit somebody. This is where the rubber meets the road in our business. If you could get someone off to a fast start during the onboarding, you will ultimately be successful over and over and over and over again in our business. And the way you get someone off to a fast start and during the onboarding in our business, they get off to a very fast start. You help them develop the ability to believe that they can generate a result just based on memorizing the wording, right? And you do that through a variety of ways, though. But the first way, when I recruit you, before you leave me, we're going to role play the script. It's called the scenario disaster. Let me go over the scenario disaster, right? You just got recruited into business with us, so you're very excited, and I'm excited for you, right? However, your enthusiasm is going to create a ton of curiosity. Spouses, parents, friends, people at church say, man, why are you so excited? What is this? What is this? What's going on? And because you're excited, they're going to ask you questions, and guess what? You're going to attempt to answer those questions. But because you're brand new, you're going to answer incorrectly. And guess what? They're going to jump to conclusions. They're going to talk you out of it. And the result is going to be failure. They're going to steal your thunder, right? And so what I do is I'll role play the script with them. I say the words, here's how you say it. You say it like this. And I say, oh, Cedric, here's how you say it, right? Here's how you say it. So I say, Cedric, say it back to me. And of course, it's nothing like it's supposed to be, right? Because he's nervous and he's brand new. It's his first time he's heard the words and it's kind of robotic. I say, all right. So what I do, I take it over. I say, all right, Cedric, try it again. All right, now say it this way, right? So I'll spend 10, 15, 20 minutes on that. Well, most people, they got the script down. Right? And I say, Cedric, these are the 3 or 4 objections someone's going to give you. When they say this, you say that. And he'll say it wrong. And we'll do that 4 or 5 times until he gets it right. Right? So you just, after about a half hour or so, 20 minutes or so, I want that brand new recruit to be able to leave me without using a script. Right? As long as they know the words word for word for word, that'd be perfect. That'd be amazing. Just like when we were in kindergarten, like, the Teletubbies and Barney. Remember growing up? Nowadays, it's Paw Patrol. My son is 6 years old at the time of this recording, and I know the Paw Patrol song like the back of my hand. Paw Patrol, be there on the double. I hear it in my house every single day. It's just, so my point is, practicing and memorizing these scripts, right? You're going to be able to overcome any objection thrown your way, no matter how senior or new you are in the business, right? Anybody can do it. It's just memorizing what's going to be played next, or what's going to be said next, what's going to be thrown at you next. No matter what it is, right? So 4, 5, 6-year-old kids can memorize 3-minute songs. Definitely us adults can do it with a 30-second script. If our kids can memorize 3-minute songs, we can memorize 30-second scripts. That's just the truth. If they're willing to make a choice, if they're willing to make the decision to learn it, if the leader is smart enough to know that, that's the backbone of their business. So if it takes me a half hour or an hour to get you to know the words, so you will act and go take a result, and you could set up 25 or 50 appointments, is it not worth me investing that 30 minutes to an hour? Absolutely it was, 100%. A good leader does that. A sloppy leader hands them the script and say, okay, go use this somewhere else. I'll see you later, right? We got to hold their hand and walk them through it, right? We got to walk them through it. Set up a Zoom time, jump on Zoom and say, okay, phone zone, here's the script. Share your screen. As they're looking at the script, Have them make the phone call right there on the spot. The eThor script. Have you make a 3 good quality script right there on the spot. Have you send 3-way text right there on the spot. Don't just give them the script. What I personally do, I jump on Phone Zone Monday night with my base shop, and we have the scripts pulled up, and we're busting out a bunch of dials, phone calls, 3-way text messages, you name it. So we go through the list properly. So I up front, every time I see somebody that's new in our business, I'm fanatical. I'm like crazy, almost a tyrant about them knowing the words and the flow of our business, right? Of invitation, so they can get a result, right? So obviously that's just how that works. So the number 2 thing I want to do is hurry up and get in the field with them immediately and go see their top 3 to 5 best friends the first week in business with them. I want to go get them a result in their first 7 days. I want to be doing at least 3, 4, 5 presentations and recruiting at least one of their best friends, right? Have them see us, have them hear about how we recruit people, and then have my new recruit got to get a positive result. Now my new recruit thinks, oh man, that was so easy. DeJuan got me a result so simple, right? And they can learn the script. They see all these different, so they learn the script, they see me get a result, they see these 3, 4, 5 results their first week in business. Man, I believe I now have somebody that's going to stay in business. If you're wondering why people disappear in business with you, if you have a problem with retainer and keeping people in business, let me tell you what's taking place. It's not that they're lazy. It's not that their life changed. It's not that they decided to not like the business or they were abducted by aliens or none of that stuff. Here's what happened. They got rejected when you wasn't there. I'm telling you, I've been doing this for over a decade, right? We've recruited way more people than we even have on our team currently. That's just how the business goes. We always will. It's human nature. But guess what? What I've learned in over a decade is people get rejected when the trainer is not there. Write this down. The leader controls the point of contact, right? They didn't like how it felt when they got rejected because it's by their closest friends, probably even, their spouses. They're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do this for a living. It doesn't feel good. It's not a payoff yet. It's got tremendous upside potential, but I just don't like how this feels. I'm used to what I'm doing for a living already. And then they get rejection, right? The number one thing you have to do to eliminate that risk is of getting rejection is just teaching them the words. Can you sit there and take the time to teach them the word, and to capitalize on it, can you immediately get them in the field, right? Get them out in the field in front of their top 5, because their top 5 people are going to be the ones who to talk them in the business or out the business. That's just the truth, right? Think of you when you joined, right? I'm sure each of you hearing this right now, when you first got started and you get your first rejection, and think right now how that felt when you first got that first rejection. You didn't like how that felt, right? And you probably had a negative spouse maybe that said, you shouldn't do this. What is this thing? Or are you trying something else, right? Mom and dad might say it, or somebody might say it, or best friends might say it. They might too, and they love you. They're not trying to hurt your feelings, but they're going to be the first ones to reject you, not because they don't like you, but because they're trying to protect you. That's just how the brain works. They think they're trying to protect you from getting your feelings hurt in the future. You're not good at sales. What is this recruiting thing? Man, what do you know about financial services, right? They're just being, it's just human nature. But remember this, you're growing and you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And you also have to know this, life is hard for one of 2 reasons. 1, because you're in your comfort zone, or 2, quite simply because you're leaving your comfort zone. And I don't know about you, but I prefer the latter. I prefer life to be hard because I'm leaving my comfort zone, right? So anyway, when it comes to that rejection, frankly, with the right words, you could get a result that's going to make all the difference in the world, right? Well, you thought of quitting, right? I thought of quitting this thing, right? I thought about it, like, man, there's got to be another way to make big time money. This just, man, it's going to be an easier way, right? I started just setting myself up mentally for rejection. So realize this. Here's the principle. People aren't around your business because they got too much rejection. That's just understand that. And if you can understand that early, so that way we can help them learn how to overcome rejection, you'll have more people on your team. So take the time for you to learn it. Check out all the manuals, right? Take the time for you to learn it, and take the time to spend time with your team so they can learn the words. Your ability as a leader to minimize and handle rejection for them through scripts, through, making sure they're on training, and truthfully, letting them know that it is rejection and not to take it personally, right? The hurdle they got to get through in our business is the ability to get through rejection. If you're going to go try to be successful in anything, let alone becoming financially independent, let alone building a business when you've been an employee your whole life, people are going to reject you. Number one, they don't want to see you win because they're not. winning themselves. Number two, they don't understand the idea of doing something. We got to remember, doing something great is controversial, right? It's unordinary. Our business is different. But the truth is this: unusual people rule the world. Look at all the guys, I won't say names on here, but all the social media, in the sense of all of the tech gurus and billionaires. All these guys were different. Different people rule the world, right? People rule the world, right? If you would have asked Bill Gates when he left Apple, it's like, man, are you leaving Apple? You're going to go start your own? And now look, you fast less than a decade later, Microsoft had to bail out Apple. They had to save Apple from crumbling, right? But when Bill Gates decided to leave Apple, guess what? They thought he got so much rejection, right? Colonel Sanders got turned down 1,000 times with his chicken recipe to get KFC off the ground. In his 60s, by the way, right? You look at Howard Schultz when he got, I believe, rejected by 316 banks for a loan before he started Starbucks, right? You look at Sam Walton, right? He was rejected. Ray Kroc, he couldn't give away the McDonald's franchise. He was driving from city to city, to state, and now McDonald's is the #1 franchise around the world, right? Right? So all great people, right, that tried anything, right, they had to deal with a ton of rejection. I think that's it's the hidden skill. It's building up the calluses on your hands to take it. It's the hidden skill of our business, of truthfully any business, is your ability to overcome rejection. And more importantly, how you feel about being rejected, right? We gotta respond when we feel a certain way, when we get rejected, how we react, right? So what's important though, by knowing these words, is you get to minimize the rejection, right? You get to overcome the objection. But even when that doesn't work, right, the 10% of the time it doesn't work, it's your ability to handle it and move on. That's just what I double D. Deal with it, disconnect. Right down. Deal with it, disconnect. Right? Don't hold on to it. It doesn't mean you're not a good person. Right? You ever go to a restaurant and you sit down and you're having a great meal and the waiter's doing a great job serving you, and at the end of the meal, he brought a glass of water or a glass of iced tea or whatever it is, right? And he's brought dessert, and at the end of the meal, he walked by one last time and says, "Hey, can I get you some more? Let me some more water." And then he reaches to pour more water or tea into your drink, and you put your hand on top of the cup, and you says, "No, I'm not thirsty. Get away from me." And you rejected his offer or her, right? Wouldn't it be ridiculous for that waitress to walk away, right? Wouldn't it for them to walk away and say, "Oh, this person hates me, right? I'm a waitress. This restaurant work. They should fire me, right? I'm gonna do something else, right?" Was your rejection to them, right? The fact that they didn't pour you any more tea, right? Would that have to do anything? Did it really have to do anything with them? Absolutely not, right? The assertion of that, it's just preposterous to think that, right? It's just silly. But yet in our business, right, you're going to see people. Are you hungry to win? Do you want to be somebody? Do you want to get out of debt? Do you want to make a multiple six-figure part-time potentially from home? Do you want to have the opportunity to own your business and travel the world and make $6 per month and be a business owner and donate into your charity and build churches and schools and give back to kids in Africa and South America and all these different countries, or even your own city? Like, do you want to just go change the world and do better for your family, right? And if they cover up the glass of their own life, as you did over your hand over that glass of water, and they say no, it's absolutely ridiculous for you to take that personally. Yeah, guess what waiters do? The waiter and the waitress, they walk away and they're like, all right, I guess they're thirsty. That's how the waiter really walks around. But for some reason, mine, right, you're just wired to think that it's a reflection of you, and it's not a reflection of you. It had nothing to do with you, right? That waiter is trying to find out if I'm thirsty. Right? In our business, you're trying to find out who's hungry. And not everybody is, and nobody's gonna be. And when they're not, it doesn't have anything to do with you. It doesn't mean you're not a good man or woman, right? A good husband, a good father, a good wife, a good spouse, a good mom, a good leader, or, you know, it doesn't mean you can't do this thing. It is nothing to do with any of that. But failure, and this is the enemy coming in, spiritual warfare, right? That's what happens. It's always trying to discourage us when we're doing something well. It's trying to tell you, hey, you can't do this. You can't make it here. It's your ability, right, to distinguish, to say, hold on, have some discernment, say, wait a minute. Doesn't mean I can't make it big in this business, right? That doesn't mean I can't be successful here. It doesn't mean this business doesn't work. It means that guy's not hungry. That lady doesn't want an opportunity, right? I'm gonna move on. Remember this, write this down. Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? Right? People don't do our business or become clients for one or two reasons. Really. Either they don't understand what you're saying or the timing's not right. And you can't say anything. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person when the timing is off, right? People have real life, people going on, right? People have stuff going on. So you remember this, write that down. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. There's nothing you can say to the wrong person. We're looking for people that's looking for us, right? And if they're not looking for us, move on. There's about 45 million people here in my state of California as we speak alone, right? About 400 million people in the country alone, right? Move on from the guy at the gym who doesn't want an opportunity. Move on for the negative aunt who doesn't want an opportunity, right? There's so many people we can go see. We're looking for people who's looking for us. You cannot say the right thing to the wrong person. If they're not thirsty, it's not a reflection on you. And I tell that to each brand new recruit, right? You're trying to go make $250,000 this year, $500,000 this year, $1 million this year, right? Part-time, whatever, full-time. You got to be able to deal with rejection. Be logical about rejection, about human nature, about the needs of people, right? The most important thing a leader can do is when an event like this of rejection takes place, they attach the right meaning to it. Because when I get a rejection, right, I say, you know how I look at it? I'm like, all right, well, that's one. The next 9 are going to be yeses, right? I just look at it big. I'm waiting. I'm counting. Because I know out of 10, I've been here over a decade now, and I think I'm pretty good at the words. And I know out of 10, I'll have at least one person say no. So I'm just counting, right? I'm just counting out of the 10. And I just start over my count. I'll go 5 straight yeses, and then I'll get a no, right? That's number 6. So I know the next 4 will be yes, right? I just attach. I didn't get that confidence until I mastered the words after I took some time to really get to know it, right? But some of us, we's like, oh man, somebody said no to me. I think I'm going to join the witness protection agency of our business and never be seen or heard from again, because no one taught you the words. So you feel like you're scared and you don't want to get rejected, right? You forgot about how big your dreams are, right? Here's the truth. Your dreams can overcome your fear, right? You know, I always say this. The dream is great, but also knowing what you don't want can be equally as motivating. And I knew I just was tired of not being able to pay bills. I knew I didn't want to have to borrow money. I knew I didn't want to have to, have a bunch of different side jobs and gigs. I said, hey, I like this business. It can pay me in a variety of ways. Let me master the word so I can be successful here, right? So my point is, selling a dream is important. That's why our leaders got to do a better job of selling their dream. And that's all of us listening to this, right? So for what it's worth, it's the most critical part about our business is learn the words, learn what to say. And I believe it's through this audio, through the different manuals, through all the different script manuals I'm going to put together verbally so you guys can learn to ask a ton of questions and really get good at that and really walk through things to people. Really ask them the right stuff. Don't be afraid to do that. And again, read all the manuals, do all the things we talked about so far. And I can't wait to continue to filling up our different playlists with different audios. So thank you guys.